So this first question is using coordinate geometry, but also thinking about some ratio. So first of all, we're told that the point P in the middle of the line here splits it up so that it's in 3 parts to 2 parts. Okay, so 3 parts this side, 2 parts this side. So to find the coordinate, one thing that I can do, because I've got to show that the coordinates are this. So it's essentially like working the question out as if you weren't given it and then afterwards checking that it's the right answer. So if I think of this here, in the x direction, we're going from -2 to 8. So that's a jump of 10. And my ratio was 3 to 2. So there was a total of 5 parts in that ratio, which means that each part must jump 2 in order to go 10 in total. So if my coordinate this side is -2, then it jumps to 0, then it jumps to 2, then it jumps to 4, then it jumps to 6. Okay, I've not drawn that overly well, but they would be your jumps, so to speak, for your ratio. So if I'm interested in 3 to 2, that means that there are 3 parts this side of P, and then 2 parts this side of P. So you can see here the x coordinate is 4. And then if I do the same thing, but in the y, going from my -1 value to my 4 value, this has got an increase of 5. And again, the ratio is split into 5, so that means that each part must be 1. So 1 part, 2 part, 3 part. I'm not sure this is overly to scale there, but this is 5 parts. And again, there's 3 parts one side and 2 parts the other side. So 3 jumps and then 2 jumps. So therefore you can see that that would also be at 1. So my coordinate for P is 4, 1. For the second part, you're using the perpendicular, or you're trying to find the perpendicular that passes through P, but it's perpendicular to A and B. So we're asked to find this line here. So it's perpendicular and it passes through P. So first of all, I need to know what the gradient of that line is. We know that it's a straight line, so this is the formula I'll be using. I know that it goes through P, which is 4, 1. So I can substitute those into my into my y and x values, but I still need to find the gradient in order to find B. So the gradient of the original line, if I think about the formula for gradient, which is the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y is -1 minus 4, and the change in x is 8 minus 2. So that gives me -5 over 10, which is -1/2. So the gradient of the new one will be the negative reciprocal, and therefore 2. So gradient of the perpendicular is 2. This is the gradient of the original. So when I sub that in, I've got 1 is equal to the gradient, 2, 4 plus B. So that's just using this idea here, but I now know that the gradient is 2. And I can n solve that to find B. So B is equal to -7. So my final formula is y is equal to 2x minus 7.